Okay, so problem number 9 says, in the figure below, lines M and N are parallel. Line S is perpendicular to line M. What is the measure of angle X? Now, if this is X, then of course this angle has to also be X because these two angles are vertical. Now, the next thing you notice is they told us that line S is perpendicular to line M. When two lines are perpendicular to each other, we know that they're going to make a 90-degree angle. So basically, this corner of that triangle is 90 degrees. Now, the only thing I'm missing is this other corner, okay, of the triangle. And for those who do not see the triangle, it's basically right here. This is the triangle I'm talking about that I just highlighted in green. So I'm going to need that third angle. And so now if you notice this third angle, which is the inside angle, and the outside angle of 145, when they're beside each other, they make 180 degrees, which is just supplementary. So we can do 180 minus 145, and that should give me 35 degrees. So now that I've used 145 to help me find the measurement of that angle, I can pretend that 145 is gone because it served its purpose. Now, if I'm looking for angle X, which is this one, and there's no other equations involved, I can just simply say 90 plus 35, okay, which gives me 125. And then because we're dealing with a triangle, all I have to do is subtract 125 from 180, and I end up with 55 degrees, okay? And that will be the measure of angle X, so my answer is B, 55. Okay, the next problem is problem number 10. In the figure below, lines M and N are parallel. What is the measure of angle W? So first and foremost, if I know this is 11x plus 1, then I also know this is 11x plus 1 because they're vertical to each other. Now, just like a problem that we did a little bit ago, this angle, which is in blue, and the other angle, which is in pink, you will notice makes 180 degrees because they make a straight line. So basically, I can set up my equation to be angle 1 plus angle 2 equals 180. And if you notice, we only used two angles in this situation versus the other problems with the triangles where we had three angles. So we had to do three angles. Now, my first angle can be the one in blue, 11x plus 1. My second angle can be 4x minus 1 equals 180. Now, the first thing I need to do with this equation is combine my like terms. So 11x plus 4x gives me 15x. And then 1 minus 1 will give me 0. You could put plus 0 if you wanted to, but it really doesn't change your problem. But I'm just going to add it in there just to help some of you understand that I'm not skipping any steps, that we're actually doing them, but it really doesn't change the answer. Then bring down your equals 180. Now the first step is to jailbreak your constant, so the opposite of a plus 0 is a minus 0. So 15x equals 180 minus 0 is 180. And then the opposite of multiplying by 15 is to divide by 15. So 180 divided by 15 gives me 12. Now, they did not ask for the measure of angle X, or they didn't say what is the value of X. They were asking for the measure of angle W. Now, if you notice, W is right here. So we know that 4x minus 1 is vertical to W. So if I can figure out what the measure of this angle is, which is the pink one, then I should be able to have the same angle value for W because they're vertical. So that means they're going to be the same. So instead of an X, I'm going to put parentheses. Okay, so 4 parentheses minus 1. So that means 12, which is the X value, will go into those parentheses. So now, if you type that in exactly how it looks, 4 parentheses 12 minus 1, I end up with 47. So 47 is this angle right here, okay? And if this is 47, then W has to be 47 as well because these two angles are vertical to each other. So the answer is C. Okay, problem number 11 states, in the figure below, lines R and S are parallel. What is the measure of angle W? So if 44 is right here and we're looking for this angle, then I know that these two angles are vertical. So if this is 44, this also has to be 44. Now, if you turn your paper a little bit sideways, you will notice that 144 and this inside angle make a straight line. So I can basically say 180 minus 144, and you get 36. Remember, guys, as soon as I use these angles that they're giving me, I can just mark them out because they serve their purpose. So 144 helped me find 36. 44 helped me find that this angle is basically the same thing, which is 44. Now, what I'm going to do is I'm going to use 36 and 44 to get to this corner. If I can find this angle, then I know that this also has to be the same value. So 36 plus 44, okay, gives me 80. And then because we're dealing with a triangle, you can clearly see it right there. I can subtract that from 180, which gives me 100. So that means this angle right here is 100. So if this is 100, W also has to be 100 because these two angles are vertical to each other. Okay? So my answer has to be B. Okay? Problem number 12. In the figure below, lines J and K are parallel. What is the value of X? Okay, so if I know this is 10x plus 4, then I also know this has to be 10x plus 4 because these two angles are vertical. I'm going to mark this one out because I basically moved it over here because they're vertical and so they're equal. Now, if you turn your paper sideways, you will notice that the angle 10x plus 4 is right here, which is in blue, and then the angle 46 is right here, which is in pink. You will notice that they make a straight line, okay? So if they make a straight line, we know it's 180 degrees. So basically, I can set up my equation to say angle 1 plus angle 2 equals 180. And we only do two angles because we only have two angles to work with. So angle 1 can be 10x plus 4. Angle 2 can be 46 equals 180. Now, first thing to do is combine like terms. You will notice that 10x is the only number with an x, so I'm just going to bring it down because there's nothing to combine it with. However, 4 and 46 can be combined together to give me 50. Now, bring down your equals 180. Now, all I have to do is jailbreak my constant. That's the number without the x, so the opposite of a plus 50 is a minus 50. So then we have 10x equals 130 because 180 minus 50 gives you 130. Then the opposite of multiplying by 10 is to divide by 10. So 130 divided by 10 gives me 13. And the question was, what is the value of x? The value of x is 13. So we can stop. And so my answer is B, 13. Now, problem number 13 states, in the figure below, what is the measure of angle X? So we are looking for this angle right here, okay, that has the X. But before I can get to that angle, I'm going to need the other two angles that are inside of the triangle, okay? And these are pretty straightforward because if we know that this is 145 and I'm looking for the blue dot angle, then I know that these two angles make a straight line. So I can say 180 minus 145, okay? And that should give me 35. And now, if I do 135 180 minus 135, because these two angles make a straight line, then I will get 45. Now remember, once I've used these two outside angles, I can mark them out because there's no point in using them anymore. They serve this purpose. They helped us find the two inside angles. And now you will notice that I have a triangle, and a triangle adds up to 180. So I can say 45 plus 35 gives me 80. And then we're dealing with a triangle, so I can subtract 80 from 180. and that gives me 100. So the missing angle, which is x, is 100 in this situation. So my answer will be C, 100.